UTSA women's basketball coach Karen Aston's weekly media availability the week of November 17th, 2025. Roadrunners coming off victory over Texas State last week. That was Coach Karen Aston's 250th career win. This week, they'll take on UIW across town at the McDermott Center. Coach, if you could start us off with an opening statement, then we'll open it up to questions using the raise hand function.
I think we're just looking forward to kind of trying to build on the week that we had last week. I thought we learned some lessons from the two road games and played pretty well in stretches against Texas State. And then I thought just to be able to have some practice days that we could try to correct some things and improve, in particular offensively, and our understanding of the concepts on offense was beneficial. And then we were able to take a day off tomorrow. I think it's always good for the players and the staff to have a complete day off where there's no class for them or anything like that. So I thought we were able to catch our breath and get ready for a really busy next couple of weeks.
Sean?
Coach, what are you looking for from UIW? How do you think they'll challenge you? And then I guess also, why is it important to play these games against, the other Division I school in San Antonio?
Well, I think they're natural, for us to play each other and benefit from high attendance, benefit from community support. I think that both Jasmine and I are both trying to gain community support for our programs and gain, really, to be honest with you, support for women's basketball in general in this city. So I think that it is extremely important, as the men stressed about the exhibition game, just to engage in the community. We're having an education day. The men are having an education day on Tuesday. So I think all of these games combined are beneficial for getting the community of San Antonio involved in not just basketball, but in particular for us, women's basketball.
Jerry?
Hi, Coach. Wanted to ask a little bit about Cheyenne Rowe. She had a nice game the last outing against Texas State, and just going over some of her numbers, her career numbers, I noticed she's her minutes per game are way up this year. Obviously, you expect a lot from her this year. She's averaging 27 minutes a game. Just kind of wanted to ask you about how you feel like she is stepping into that new role, additional responsibilities, more playing time. How do you think she's doing with all that?
Oh, I think she's doing great. I think that Cheyenne was more than ready to step into a starting role. And to be honest with you, she was really a sixth starter, I thought, last year, the way that she contributed and the consistency that she played with, especially in conference play. You would have considered her like a starter. So I don't think that role has necessarily changed. Maybe the amount of shots that she's taking right now and the times that we're playing through her would be a little bit different than what she experienced last year. But I definitely think that her being in the rotation the way that she was last year is, the minutes are not surprising to her or something that has caught her off guard, and probably not anybody else that we're playing. If they did any scouting on our team last year, they would probably know that she's a pretty constant player for us.
Does it surprise you, Coach, that she's been able to maintain? She's been shooting 50% ever since she stepped on campus. Does that surprise you at all?
Well, not the amount of time she puts in the gym, Jerry. I mean, she's one of those that really takes advantage of the time in the summer to just get shots up. And with her academic schedule, it's a little bit more difficult when the school year begins and she takes a full load because she's a student athlete. Right. That's what she is. She's a student athlete, and she's very serious about her academics. So there's times, like in this time of the year, that she's pretty stressed and has a lot going on. But I think when you reflect back, one of my favorite things to talk about is what players benefit from the time that they use in the summer. It always comes to light in the wintertime, and I think that she's a reflection of that. She always takes advantage of summer to make sure that her shooting is consistent and her confidence is consistent with that.
John?
If I remember correctly, Coach, you coached UIW's Coach Jasmine Player at Baylor. she like as a player to coach, and how have you enjoyed watching her coaching career over the years?
Yeah, it's crazy, Sean. I kind of forgot about that. She seems like such a peer to me. You know, she's been in the profession for quite some time, and she handles her coaching abilities just like she did as a player. I recruited her and then had the privilege with stepping across down I-35 to Baylor. I got an opportunity to coach her for 1 year, and she's a delight. She was a delight to coach. She's a delight to be around, a very positive light on our profession, and someone that I think has a very, very bright future as a head coach.
What what do you like about the schedule right now? You've only got one game this week, maybe a little more time to work on some things early in the season.
You know, it was difficult to find home games, and so I probably would like to have had one more game stuck in here somewhere, but with this team and the depth issues that we have right now, I'm not so sure that this didn't play out positively for us. Like I said at the beginning of this, it was good for us to play the 2 road games, come home, have a home game, but then have several practice days where we can really try to teach on some of the things that we didn't do well, and emphasize the things that we did well. And I think that sometimes in November you just cram a bunch of games in here. If you have an older, experienced team, that's probably a good thing, because all they want to do is play, and I know that's all anybody wants to do anyway. But for this particular team, we really needed to step back after the 2 road games and address some things that we could show them on film. And, you know, sometimes you just hurry up and look at the next team and you really never look back at what you did. And we've had the opportunity to do that. We'll do it again after the Wednesday game. I know that it's going to be a very challenging game at UIW. It's a rivalry type game, which we have those back-to-back now. It's on the road. We've experienced not so good things on the road there before, so we'll try to jog our players' memory if they were there. If they weren't, we'll try to let them know it's not an easy place to play, and then we'll be able to take another deep breath and get ready for the 2 games in Dallas.
Jerry?
Coach, how were your practices since the Texas State game? You mentioned you wanted to address some issues that you felt like needed to be addressed, and just kind of wondered what did you work on specifically, and how well do you think your kids did in embracing those challenges?
The players have been great. I mean, they come in and they want to get better. They're challenging themselves to get better. I think that conditioning has been a little bit of an issue with this group, so we wanted to make sure that we put them in game situations where they could fight through fatigue and understand the aspect of that maybe they weren't quite ready for when we started playing in the games. I don't think that we, for many reasons that I can't necessarily even disclose, we just weren't in the greatest game shape when we started. And if you look at us now compared to where we were a couple of weeks ago, I think we're better. So some of the practices, Jerry, were really set up to put ourselves in the game and fight through, minutes of playing where the whistle doesn't blow or you haven't had a media timeout, and how can we fight through some of those moments and get to the timeouts and make adjustments. Some of them were, shooting while you're fatigued. Just some things that I think we haven't been great at that we have to try to address in practice and put them in those situations in practice to get better.
I guess there were sometimes, in the practice, those practices you had just prior to the start of the season, where you were going sometimes without even 10 scholarship players available, right? I mean, I know there were some practices out there early where you had less than 10. So was that a factor?
Yeah, for sure. Again, we had some players that were coming off of some I don't want to say load management, but we are managing a couple of them for the long haul. So we knew to begin with that they probably weren't going to be in tip-top condition because of the way we managed their summers or their summer. that was one factor, and some of it was just the fact that we had some injuries, so young players playing the amount of minutes that maybe none of us anticipated. I definitely anticipated young players playing, but they've been thrown into 30-plus minutes, and that wasn't necessarily what the plan was, and we had to adjust to that, and they had to learn. It's not even an adjustment. It's really just they had to learn what that felt like, and how do they manage their own breath, and how do they manage their mind when they're fatigued. Those are things that I think are truly learned behaviors that happens in the game. So we'll get better and better as we go along. I really like the potential of this team, and I've said it from day one. As long as we obviously don't have other injuries, we have what we have right now, and I think it's enough for us to be a really good basketball team if they'll continue to embrace change and continue to embrace hard. I think we have some pieces that we can really have some fun with and be a very challenging team for other teams, but again, it's going to be a process. So we're not a finished product. We're not a mature team, but we're going to be forced to get that way, to be honest with you. And it may not happen till mid-January or late January, but I do see a lot in this team that can be really special if they just keep grinding away.
John?
Kind of back to the coaching piece. I know you've had a lot of coaches who've impacted your life, particularly your high school coach, but you've had a lot of players that have gone on to careers in coaching. And how meaningful is that to you? I mean, that certainly speaks to the impact that you've had on their lives.
Well, you definitely hope that they find, when they start to think about profession and what they're going to do post being an athlete, you hope that they find their passion. And sometimes that takes a little bit for some players to figure out, is basketball truly is this their passion? Is this something they want to pay forward and teach someone else how to play? And when they find that, I do find a lot of pride in that, and I do enjoy watching them grow as coaches. And we do have a lot of former players that are in the profession in the high school ranks or in college basketball, and it's been a joy to watch all of them develop. I still have many of them that are teetering on, I think maybe I want to coach. It's funny, I was just thinking about several that have just graduated here recently, and I think Kira's going to be a great coach one day. I think I was thinking about Jordan, because she's been here the last week or so. Jordan and Nina both have been around, and just watching them communicate with our players, you definitely can see coaching in their future one day also. So it's fun to watch. It's fun it will be fun for me one day to go watch them coach all the time.
And we talk about the milestones that your program continues to achieve, but you think about just the department collectively, and soccer winning the American, and volleyball going to the tournament for the first time, and every sport kind of hitting these milestones. What's it like to be kind of in this department right now as all of the programs really are hitting these milestones?
I think that's what we all bought, so to say, I guess, if you want to word it like that, when we all decided to come here and coach, is that there was a clear vision by Dr. Campos. We believed it. We see the potential going into the American. We saw the potential of being in that league and playing at a higher level and being able to recruit higher level athletes. And yes, did NIL throw a wrench in some of those plans? There's no question about that. I mean, but what I've really enjoyed is watching the coaches embrace hard, because that's what we're all trying to teach the student athletes, is that this is not an easy job to be a Division I athlete. It's not easy to win. That's why I appreciated the work that was put in by you guys to hang that banner the other day and do it the right way, is because it's not easy. It's not easy to hang banners. And when you do it, you better celebrate it, and hopefully all of us will start to feed off of each other. I so admired the way that Derek's team played. I watched them. I mean, they fought so hard in Lubbock, and you could tell that they really believed in what they were doing, and that kind of stuff, it permeates across campus, and the athletes start to feed off of each other, and it's always a fun thing to watch when that starts to happen, and I think it's happening here.
Right, that'll wrap things up. A quick reminder that there won't be a weekly press conference next week due to the travel schedule, and we'll be back on December 1st. Thanks,
y'all.
everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.